Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do a Friday Reads video and also do a little bit of a library haul. So today's finally Friday. I'm so excited for the weekend. As I mentioned in the previous video, I've been kind of stressed out because of school in the last 2 weeks, but it's starting to feel slightly more manageable, which means that I'm starting to be able to read normally again. Not quite at the pace that I would like, but hopefully during the weekend I can sort of catch up a little bit. So I started reading this book quite a while ago. I got it as a NetGalley and I put it to the side for a little bit because I was reading another NetGalley that was more that was coming out before this one. So it is Mother is a Verb, an Unconventional History by Sara Knott. This is basically a historical account of being a mother from like the pregnancy beginnings to actually giving birth and raising a child. So I read up until she gives birth to her child. So I'm looking forward to the chapters that are coming. A mother in terms of raising a child and the bond between a mother and a child. And the parts that I've read so far has been more about the prior to the birth, the pregnancy, which has been really interesting and informative, but it isn't the reason I picked this book up. So I'm looking forward to finally getting into the parts that I was excited for. A audiobook that I'm currently listening to is The Trouble with Goats and Sheep by Joanna. So I remember that this was really popular on BookTube, I think 2 years ago or something. I know that Mercedes from Mercedes Bookish Musings loved this book and several other British booktubers, and I was looking for an audiobook to listen to. I listened to a few samples and really liked the sound of the narrator of this one. So it is about a very small town in the 1970s in Britain, and a woman goes missing, or she is nowhere to be found and no one knows where she is. So there's sort of the suspicion that something happened to her. This mystery is going on while you also see glimpses of something that happened a few years prior in this little tight-knit community, and the people of the community don't really like talking about this thing that happened. So there's like a dark secret in the community, and two young girls are trying to figure out what happened with the woman going missing, and they're sort of like amateur detectives in this town. I'm loving the voices of the children. I like the way that Joanna captures the way that a young person thinks. I think I've listened to about a third of it, and so far it's been super enjoyable. I've been listening to it as I exercise, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the story with the tight-knit community aspect of it, and the mystery, which fits perfectly with March Mystery Madness, and the cover is also blue, which again is fitting with one of the challenges. The book that I am very likely to finish today is The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme, Weijun, Wang, which is an essay collection about what it's like to have schizophrenia. So she talks about various aspects of schizophrenia, from diagnoses to medication and therapy, and some of the experiences in terms of psychosis, what it's like to be high functioning as a schizophrenic. She also talks about the fact that schizophrenia isn't really one kind of experience. There are several kinds of schizophrenia, and they all have their unique qualities to them. So she has schizoaffective disorder, I think it's called. But I am loving her voice in this. I think she is a fantastic writer, and she is very honest and also very, I guess, analytical. She looks at both her own experiences and the way that schizophrenia is portrayed in media, and how it's discussed by professionals in medicine, and psychologists and psychiatrists and everything like that. Everyone that has anything to say about schizophrenia, she talks about books that she's read on the topic. I will talk more about this when I finished it, but I only have 1.5 essay left. So yeah, yeah, I love this. So if the last essay isn't bad, then, which I assume it won't be, then this is a 5-star read for me, which is very rare, which is a very rare occasion. The other 2 books that I'm currently reading is The Paying Guest by Sarah Waters, which is a historical fiction novel set in the 1920s, and it's about a woman and her adult daughter who, after the First World War, has some financial troubles and they are forced to take in lodgers in their home. And so a woman and her husband move in as lodgers, and it's about sort of the relationships that build between the mother and the daughter on the one hand, and the husband and the wife, and all of the sort of interactions with these characters within this home. It was very easy for me to get stuck into this book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the LGBTQ vibes to it already. It's not clear exactly what the relationship will build up to be, but I'm loving the build up and the relationship itself. And it reminds me a lot of all of the books that I read as a child or as a teenager, rather, and it made me kind of nostalgic for that, and made me want to read more queer literature. So yeah, I'm loving this so far, and I'm hoping that I can pick this up more over the weekend, because during the week I haven't been reading that much, and when I've been reading, I've mostly been reading this one. The last book that I am currently reading is Four Sisters, The Lost Lives of the Romanov Grand Duchesses by Helen Rappaport. I started reading this shortly after finishing I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon, which I mentioned in my February reading wrap-up. This is the life of Anastasia and her sisters, and it starts before their birth, with their mother Alexandra marrying Nicholas and moving to Russia, and her difficulty in adapting to what the Russian public wanted from her. Helen Rappaport has a very strong narrative style in her nonfiction, at least from this book, which I'm really enjoying. It makes it very easy to read. I haven't been prioritizing this, which is the main reason I haven't gotten further into this, but I have really enjoyed what I've read. So I think after finishing The Collected Schizophrenia, I think I will put this higher on my priority for my nonfiction reading. So now on to my library books. So first up is a book that I've only just started reading, is Mouthful of Birds by Samanta Schweblin. This was one of my anticipated releases of the year, and I was planning to buy this book, but I saw a few negative reviews of it, so I decided to get it from the library. And this week the Man Booker International Longlist was announced, and this was one of them, which I was excited about since I already had it out from the library anyway. And I'm planning to read as many of the long list of the Man Booker International as possible, and this is the first one out for me. So as far as I know, this is a collection of short stories that she wrote prior to Fever Dream, which is probably the main criticism I've seen of this book, that is not as polished as Fever Dream. But the stories themselves are supposed to be kind of creepy and unsettling, which is again a theme that runs through Fever Dream. The first story is, I think, really good. It is called, what is it called? Headlights. I like the vibe of it, so I don't really know what to expect of this, but I am looking forward to finally reading this anyway. A few books that I got from the library that are middle grade, since it is still middle grade March. We have Pax by Sara Penny-Packer, which is a historical middle grade that takes place, I think, during the Second World War. It's not clear which of the wars it is. But it's about a boy who has been living together with a fox that he saved when it was still a cub, and he has to separate from the fox because of the war. And I think it talks about the fox's story as well as the boy. I thought it sounded interesting, and it fits perfectly with the middle grade March challenge of reading a book with a non-human human main character. 2 middle grade mysteries I got so I could combine my middle grade March with March Mystery Madness. We have Wild Boy by Rob Lloyd Jones, which is again a historical set in the middle of the 19th century mystery of a boy who works in a freak show who is a detective. That's all I know about this, but I was drawn in by the cover and it seemed like such an unusual premise, so I wanted to give it a go, and I had not heard anything about this, which is always a little bit exciting for me. I think that is one of the reasons I like using the library, to be able to take a chance on a book that I've not heard anything about, which is often very difficult for me because I spend so much time on BookTube and on Instagram and everything that relates to books, that I feel like I've heard about so many books that it's very difficult for me to just stumble upon a book. The other one is again a book that I had not heard anything about, and it is Constable and Toop by Gareth P. Jones, which is again, I'm guessing, a historical mystery, since because of the cover, I'm guessing. Okay, this is a paranormal mystery, so it's a mystery with ghosts. Something is happening in London. They say that the ghosts from the haunted houses are missing, and the black rot infecting their homes, and the demon hound roaming the streets of London. But can Sam help while also keeping himself out of harm's way? A funny, scary, bloody mystery. So I'm willing to give it a go. I think it sounds interesting, and I don't think I've read any paranormal mysteries ever. I don't think. Maybe I have, but I don't think so. I know I've watched Supernatural and other TV shows with that, within that genre, but I don't think I've read any books within that genre. Anyway, a book that I got from the library that relates pretty directly to my schoolwork is Columbine by Dave Cullen. I've been reading a lot about school shootings and school attacks recently, and doing some of my own work around that, and is often referenced to because it's such a big event in terms of attacks like this. I know about the gist of the crime, but not the details, and I thought I would benefit from reading more of a detailed account of the Columbine shooting. One of the worst in terms of damage and kill count, but also in terms of the effect that it's had in terms of inspiring other shootings. I don't expect this to be a very fun read, but it is very relevant to what I'm studying at the moment, so I think I will try to read at least parts of this to get more of an inside perspective on this. And this book seems to be the only really thorough look at the Columbine shooting. The next one I have is Weathering by Lucy Wood, which was inspired by Sophie from Portal the Pages. She recently picked up another book by this author, and it reminded me that I've been wanting to read her for a while. And I think this author uses a lot of nature writing in her books, with a bit of a fairy tale spin on them. I don't remember exactly what the particular plot of this is. I just remember that I've heard a lot of good things about this author, again from a lot of British booktubers, and that I just wanted to read one of her books, and this was the one I could find in my library. And the last one I have out from the library is Number One Chinese Restaurant by Lillian Lee. I saw this in the library, and I remembered that I'd seen it on the Women's Prize long list this year. I kind of want to read quite a few of the books on the list. This wasn't one of the ones that I knew of any before the long list announcement, but I thought I would give it a go since I saw it. An exuberant and wise multi-generational debut novel about the complicated lives and loves of people working in everyone's favorite Chinese restaurant. So I don't really know anything more than that about this book. I want to read quite a few of the Women's Prize long list this year. So I thought this might be as good a place as any to start. So those are the books that I'm currently reading and what I have out from the library that I'm hoping to read soon. Let me know if you've read any of these. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon.